we like there's so many questions and there's so many things that we like. I think that this is a really important conversation, like having you on the show in particular, right?
Okay.
Because I think typically, like in the beat community, we tend to lean more towards like if you're a button pusher and you're a producer. If you bang out on them pads, you're a producer. If you're using FL, you're a producer. If you're playing keys, you're a producer. I think like that is such a limited idea for like what a producer does, right? And so like I read the definition of producer. I want to read this. I want to read this for everybody here. So a record producer or a music producer oversees and manages the sound recording and production of a band or performer's music, which may range from recording one song to recording a lengthy concept album. A producer has many varying roles during the recording process. So before we get into you and like you being a producer, where did this whole journey start, bro? Like where did you pick up music from? Like was this in your family? Like how did this happen, yo? Like how did you become Greg Nyce in the first place?
I mean, my parents, of course, listen to music.
Yeah.
My dad's a big jazz guy. My dad is into...
That makes a lot of sense.
He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
So, like, when we used to do, like, construction and carpentry and paint and stuff like that around the crib, jazz. Yeah. Heavy. But my dad was, like, one of them smooth jazz guys. So, it was, like, Kenny G and Boney James and all of those guys. When I start skate. So when you go into the skating ring, and I don't mean like, and there's no knock, but I don't mean like Cascade per se. Yeah. Like where it's just like hip hopped out the whole time.
Right.
Like I'm a part of, I'm not gonna say it's underground, but I'm a part of like a roller skating culture where being in that culture, it's literally people that travel to parties from one state to the next all year round on the calendar.
Right.
So, what happened was, and I'll try to give you the condensed version of this. What happened was I started like, right around the time when Facebook hit, me and my sister, we came up with this platform called, we created on Facebook when Facebook first started doing like groups. Yeah. And it was called Skatebook. Okay. Right. And we had like the logo and branding and all of that. Like we was ready. And the whole purpose of the group was just to bring people together that like went to skate parties. Yeah. So it's like, yo, you go to skate parties, group messaging basically, hop in here and like let us know where you going next, right? And then it started with like maybe 25 people. It's people that she rocked with, a couple people that I knew, or whatever the case may be. Because prior to Skatebook, when you went to skate parties, like if I lived in Jersey, so if I went to a skate party in Virginia, I come outside at the end of the party, all of the flyers is in the window for where the next situation is, right? All right, cool. So we started Skatebook. 25 people quickly, like almost like in less than a year, 25 people went to 4,000.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But it was skaters.
Right.
So they had, you went from catching your flyer in the windshield to now we're digitally uploading flyers. Yeah. Because target market is right here.
Right.
So we started doing that. And then as we started doing that, I was coming up with ways to expand the experience, if you will. You go to parties, and parties would be 1 day. Some parties are 2 days. Big parties, what we call national parties, were 3 days long. Yeah. So you go to a city, you in the host hotel, there's day parties, and then at night we skated from 12 to 5 in the morning. So because I'm like, yo, I want to increase the experience, and mind you, got to think, it's people coming from all over the world. The way in the music that they skate to in Cali is not the music or the way that they skate in Chicago. Right. Which is not the music and the way that they skate in New York, which is not the music and the way they skate in Atlanta. Right. But we're all here. Yeah. So as the DJ, you have to touch everybody. You know what I mean? Okay. And you have to, everybody have their own style. Everybody got their own bop, everything. So musically, when you're flowing the night, because that's probably the largest lessons I've ever learned in DJing is how to flow music. Right. Anybody could play.
What's that mean? Like define that for people who might not know exactly what you mean.
Okay, so, like if I can show you how to, we could put together a random 10 songs. Right. And I can show you from a button pushing standpoint how to play these 10 songs. Right. What I can't show you in one sitting, which requires you to have a little bit of an ear, attentiveness, and an overall love for what you're doing, can't teach you how to flow that in a way where even the person who doesn't like these records is like, yo, this nigga's vibing. I can't teach you that. So because that's something that I can't, that's one of those things that come from in here.
Right.
You know what I mean? At the skating rink, we have no choice as DJs. You're there for 4 hours, sometimes 5.
Right.
And you have to play from like DC, Maryland. Their tempo of skating.
I know about that.
Their tempo of skating is somewhere around 80 to 90 beats a minute. That's their pocket.
Right.
We're here, right?
Right.
DC, Maryland, back in the day, when they skated, they used to skate to an organ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was somebody in the skate rink playing an organ, and that's how they got down.
Yeah.
So their beats per minute is 80 to 90. That's their pocket. But if I'm playing a skate party, I got to play for DC, Maryland. So I got to be in this 80 to 90 beat range, and I have to give you your whole life. And then I got to touch Philly in the process, who's more 90 to 100.
Yeah.
Hip hop, like we going, right?
Yeah.
But I have to do that in a way where I don't make DC, Maryland feel alienated.
Yeah.
Like, even though we went into like a Philly vibe,
Okay.
DC, Maryland still feel like, yo, we here.
Yeah.
The energy's right.
Right.
And we still able to do what we do. And New York, North Jersey, that's more of, now we're starting to climb into like 105 and going into house music.
Yeah.
Still have to play those records and make DC, Maryland still feel like, yo, we here.
Right.
It's how you flow it.
So going to these skate parties, like you would go to these skate parties and I'm assuming here, but I want some clarity. So like you go to these skate parties and obviously you notice something about like these pockets and like these different like these areas.
Yeah.
Is that like what drew you out as like as a DJ?
It opens your musicality.
Yeah.
Completely. Opens up your musicality. And then what we started doing with Skatebook was like, all right, well, there's a lot of people that don't get to make it to these skate parties. Travel, hotels, could be a little expensive.
Yeah.
Cool. What we gonna do is we're gonna make an internet radio station and we're gonna stream the skate party live from the booth.
Right.
Over the internet radio. And then that way we had a chat room open and people who couldn't make the party, we could just sit in the booth, we'll chop it up with them and they like, yo, the music crazy, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm finding myself in DJ booths.
Okay.
Streaming these parties. So I'm sitting there.
But you're watching the DJ though.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there watching them and I'm like, yo, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
So I get to call my mom. I told my mom, like, yo, you know, like, I'm thinking about DJing or whatever. She's like, really? Yada, yada, yada. She asked me about equipment. And I sent her on Amazon this little $100 mixer I was looking at.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, that joint's at my front door.
That's what's up. Yeah,
that's support right there.
That's support right there.
So I go down in the basement, and like every DJ that I know, to virtual DJ is what we all started on.
Yeah.
And I had like the little, I didn't have no music.
Yeah.
I mean, I had like stuff that I would remember they played in the rink, and I'm ripping stuff off YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was like, trying to learn how to blend two records together. That was the biggest thing. Like, I'm going to blend two records because in the skate world, again, part of flowing the night is being able to blend songs.
Right.
So I know, of course, I had ambitions and endeavors to like, I want to be able to scratch and get crazy with it. But ultimately, it was about blends. So I'm in the basement. I had a 16 gig, scan disc flash drive.
Yeah, I know exactly what SanDisk.
Yeah, I had one of those. And I had like a bunch of music on there I ripped from YouTube. And I was in the basement. And the first 2 songs I've ever blended in my life that I ran out the basement and was like, yo, I'm a DJ, was Started from the Bottom, Drake.
Yeah.
And Click, Big Sean.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So
I was like,
it's official.
We did it, bro.
Okay. So this is a...
You are now listening to the Beats, Brews, and Life podcast.
Beats, Brews, and Life.